Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm speaking to my colleague Sarah, who works at the Museum of Zoology. Hi Sarah, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Staying sane.
Excellent, yeah, staying sane in these crazy times. Sarah, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. I've got some questions for you, if you don't mind answering them. Everyone's had the same questions, so there's no sort of trick questions just for you. First of all, Sarah, what's your job and what do you enjoy about it?
I get asked what I do for a job quite often, and I have always found it difficult to describe what exactly I do because I'm the learning assistant at the Museum of Zoology, and within that I do lots of different roles. I guess I've got lots of different hats on in that role. We're a really small team at Zoology, and I'm sure you'll hear from other members of the team. So I do a number of different things as part of my role. Lots of teaching, so looking after the schools program along with my colleague Ros, producing resources for schools, teachers, for people wanting to learn about zoology, engaging with young people. So that can be through the arts or through practical science. We do a number of different programs with them. We also organise the museum's events, so all public events. That can be the family activity days or a series of talks. We do late openings for adults as well, with drinks and games and things. And I also look after the various community groups that we engage with within the museum, and are responsible for the making sure that we are accessible physically and intellectually for any audiences, with a various range of different needs as well. So we work with a group of adults with dementia, for example, or families who have children on the autism spectrum, a number of different needs there as well. So yes, every day is different, even in lockdown. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
sounds really varied. It actually sounds really good fun as well.
Yes, yeah. And if anyone can come up with a really short, punny sort of punchy line that describes my job, let me know, because yeah, I have to use so many words to describe it.
Excellent. Sarah, have you always wanted to work in a museum?
No, which is sacrilege sometimes. I've not always been sure of what I've wanted to do for a career. I knew that I loved working with people and exploring different cultures, experiencing different cultures, finding out more about different cultures as well. I've always been interested in natural science and natural history. Grew up, as many of us did, watching Sir David Attenborough on telly, and it really sort of the interest in museums or working in the industry, in the sector, came really out of experience that I had in teaching, not formally but informally, in secondary schools, in sort of holiday clubs, things like that, where you really get to teach and engage with young people in a way where they can actually explore stuff that they're interested in fun ways, in accessible ways. So like physical science or sports, or something a bit more hands-on and not so textbooky. So I did some museum collections volunteering as part of my undergrad degree, which is in history, and from there, plus the other experience of teaching, fell into museum education. So that's where I'm at now.
Amazing. You sort of talked about your undergrad degree in history. I did not know that about you. Where did you do that degree?
Reading.
Reading.
University of Reading, yeah.
And was that your educational pathway? You sort of went to school, did your A levels, went to university, did a degree?
Yeah. So I've always really enjoyed sort of the investigation side of humanities. yeah, history was sort of a natural fit for me. I've always been interested in it. I did sort of dabble in going on to do art at university, and actually at Reading you're able to test out other modules from different degrees in your first year. So I did actually do some art modules there, and decided that actually no, I'd picked the right choice with history, so I was glad about that one, obviously. But you know, I still do the art and creative side of things in my spare time, or you know, as much as I can through work.
I think you're very creative through your work. Actually, I've seen some of the output, so it's pretty cool. What was your experience of work before this job?
So I have done a lot of different roles, which often surprises people, because I know that I look younger than I am, but also I have jumped from different jobs, needing to be able to pay the bills as well as studying, or to just continue really getting experience where I can. And actually the different roles that I have had, that I've worked in, have really added to the job that I do now. So if you include sort of working in a secondary school, making extracurricular activities, so that would give me the you know, that's a really big part of my role now in the museum, is making those activities for secondary kids. I've also waitressed, which really helps to manage family activity days. It's just like managing tables in a restaurant. Get them in, get them seated, get them out. Especially with our numbers. Teaching at a sports camp as well, thinking about behaviour management, child protection. That all comes into my role now too. Customer service, so being able to keep that face on, public facing face, even, you know, when you don't want that to be your face at that time. I also, I did a master's degree in museum and artifact studies, at Durham, and that was once I had decided that museums was the way that I wanted to go. And even then I hadn't decided necessarily that I wanted to go into museum education. So I did a few different things, volunteering within the education programs, but then also working in the Durham University museums, sort of front of house, gallery, reception desk roles. And I also worked at a registry office in Durham. Again, the bills need to be paid, and also when I did a master's degree, you couldn't get a student loan to pay for the fees, so I needed to pay those off as I went as well. So I worked in the local registry office, which, for those of you who don't know, is where people get their births, deaths and marriage certificates. So lots of administration, but also lots of keeping to strict guidelines and communicating with different people, certainly around sort of the death certificates, communicating with people in really distressing circumstances. And that's also something that helps with my job today as well, just being able to communicate with anyone, really. I, as part of my master's degree, I did a placement at the Fitzwilliam Museum, which is how I ended up in Cambridge, and that was with the Access and Communities team, as part of the education team. So that then led on to me also working as a gallery assistant, so front of house, doing some admin work for the learning team, studio assistant as well, helping out on Saturdays for the events, and all of that really sort of fit together really nicely into giving me experience that I had to be able to get the job that I'm in now. And I will say that I know that the sector requires a lot of volunteer hours to happen, to be able to, or at least expects volunteer hours to happen, to be able to get the experience to then get these roles. There are ways to do it where you can get paid to do it. And I did manage to find them. Whether it's front of house, which then means you've got your foot in the door for other things, or admin work experience elsewhere and then using that in the sector. There are ways in and there's ways around it.
Those front-facing customer service roles are hugely important
Yes.
pretty much in all walks of life. Those transferable skills. I know that I probably wouldn't be where I am now without my retail experience and that customer service. It's huge. And when I see that on someone's CV, I see worked at Tesco's or worked in retail in a shop in the high street. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Two more questions. What are the most important skills and attributes that you need to do your job? I mean, you've touched on a few bits already, but for you, what do you think is the most important?
Yeah, so I've already mentioned it, but definitely communication. Being able to listen to the different audiences I have. You know, I can go one day, I can be teaching a group of year 2 students about habitats in the morning, and then doing a session for one of our community groups in the afternoon. And being able to really read your audience and communicate openly and effectively, especially with if you're working on a project with groups. You know, if you're both working on the same project, you need to be able to communicate together. Equally, if you've got people within the institution, so we are based in the Department of Zoology, so we work quite a lot with the researchers there. So just being able to communicate. It's a whole other audience is the sciences as well compared to the arts. And that's not to say that they're too different. It's just different communication styles needed. But also being able to be adaptable. So working with people comes with unexpected situations without fail. So it might be a student asking, so year 2 students asking if I'd killed any of the animals in the museum. That's not a question that it's a question I've come to expect now, having been there for over 3 years, but it was a little surprising when I first joined. Or the lift breaking down just before a group with physical access needs are about to arrive. Yeah, that's always wonderful. Or global pandemics, meaning that my events can't go ahead. So yeah, just being adaptable and yeah, because you know that's what we need to be able to work with people as well.
Yeah, good answers. Yeah, amazing. Adaptability in this day and age. Last question, Sarah. What would you tell your younger self if you had the opportunity?
Ooh, I'm going to try not to be too lyrical here. So I would say to focus on what you find interesting. The career path will sort of come out of that. You spend a huge amount of your life at work. So doing something that's interesting will mean that it's less of a chore, but also in focus on what's important to you. So I saw that museums can help to, especially working with young people, but build confidence, build skills, build interest in and relationships with other people. And all of these things are applicable to other situations. And it can really change someone's life, just building their own confidence in themselves and in their identity and in understanding identities, and in you know, we say a lot of meaning making as well in museums, but that's where my sort of self-worth almost in my own career comes from, in that it's important that I spend my life helping other people. So that's what I've focused on, and whether that's in museums or in another industry, sure, you know, but that is what's important. So if you know, caring for wildlife is important for your self-worth, then focus on that side of things. You know, work in conservation, work in a zoo, or you know, something like that. Or if something, you know, if creating or inventing or protecting, you know, things is what's important, then you know, try and find something that links your interest with those things that are important to you. Yeah. screw other people's expectations. Just find something that you're going to enjoy.
I like that. That's probably going to be my quote of the day. Sarah, thank you so much for your time. It's been really nice talking to you, and really good to see a friendly face. I really appreciate it, and I guess I'll let you know when this is up online so we can point people in this direction. So thank you very much.
Thank you.